Hey everyone, today we're going to play Remain in Me, I Am the Vine by Curtis Stephen and Steve Angrisano. Depending on what time of the year you're watching this, Easter 2021, we have two readings that this song pairs very well with, uh, 1 John 4 and John 15 Gospels. So we have those back to back this year, and so I thought it's a really good time to show and share this song. I'll do what I've been doing for other videos at the end. I will talk about the song, a little of a tutorial about how I'm playing it compared to the recording, compared to the sheet music, where I split the difference on some of that. But for now, just enjoy the song. Serve apart from me. This I have told you, that you may see my love in you, your joy complete. Remain in me. I am the vine. Remain in me. You shall have life. You are the branches. Slaves, I call you friends. I shall be with you till the end. Keep my commandments, I dwell in you. So now bear witness to the truth. As I have done, so you should do. So as to love as I love you, for in your witness my love is shown. In simple ways my heart made known. Remain in me. I am the vine. Remain in me. You shall have life. You are the branches, bear fruit for all to see. I am the vine, remain in me. As I died, so too shall you die. As I rose, so too shall you rise. Do not be troubled, your eyes have seen. You trust in God, now trust in me. Remain in me. I am the vine. Remain in me. You shall have life. You are the branches, bear fruit for all to see. I am the vine. Remain in me. I am the vine. Remain in me. Okay, let's talk about this song a little bit. The studio recording is in the key of G. The sheet music is in the key of F. If you are in guitar land where you're capoing the song, you're playing it in the key of D, regardless of what fret you're on. If you're you want to play it in G, you're going to be fret 5. If you want to play it in F, you're going to be fret 3. If you want to be like me, play it in F sharp, capo 4. Okay. What I'm going to do for this next part is I'm going to discuss how to play it with the cut capo. Then I'm going to run through real quickly about how to play it with a standard capo. And then I want to talk about the vocals really briefly. And then we're going to be done. All right, so If you're not used to playing with a cut capo, what it does is it allows you to play a hybrid of both standard tuning chords and dadgad style chords. And this thing is really helpful, especially with church music. Dadgad, there's a lot of music in D. Really, a good chunk. I would say over a third is in the key of D, at least for contemporary music. And so, if you wanted to play it in a dadgad style tuning, well, if you only have one guitar, that's a big challenge. Because, between the Gathering Song and the Gloria or any other song, right, Offertory into the Holy, you have less than a minute, and you can't really retune your guitar if you only have one. So this is a nice way to get a little bit of both. It gets you some of that, the unique sounds you get out of playing in a dadgad tuning without having to do all the work here and also putting stress on your strings. I actually am not a big advocate of altering your guitar tuning in a live setting. I'd rather have a second guitar for that. So it's a great way to get around that. Okay, so we've got some pedal tones. There's really only three. If you look in the intro, you have a D, you have a D over A, you have a G over D, and then there's a G over A. Okay, remember we're talking about playing with the cut capo. This is the only time you can play in the key of D and do a pedal tone of a D unless you're in drop D, right? And you can play past the low, the fourth string, the D string. Okay, so you only need your middle finger here. You can play this, do that, doesn't matter. That's the beauty of the dadgad style tuning. To play the A over D, you're just gonna add your second fret on the B string. Okay, you notice I'm not trying to go. I'm just kind of going. So what I was trying to show there is that I'm not trying to hit all six strings. Even though I can, I'm not trying to. Okay, you might have a bass player. Let him do that. Or a keyboard player. Let them do that. You don't need to try to hit all six strings all the time. It starts to sound real muddy real fast. Okay, to play a G over D, that's really all you need. From the D string, G, there you go. Okay, you can do this because you have this. In standard tuning, you can't do that. But I don't really think you should. I think you should just kind of hold it right there. Okay, to play the G over A, there's a couple different ways to play it. I've seen people do it like this or this. To me, it doesn't sound like a 4-chord over the 5th. It just doesn't sound like it. This does. Right, if you think about this sound. That sounds like a 4-chord over the 5th. So I prefer to play it that way. If you want to play it like this, you can. That's up to you, but I'm going to play it like this. Technically, I probably should be playing this like a standard F instead of the F major 7 shape to have the G to A, but I kind of like having that. I like it. You're benefiting from that dadgad style tuning. Actually, that's something you can do in standard, but you're kind of benefiting from just having a non-chord tone, adding some different colors that you might not get if you were just strictly trying to play chords exactly as they're written. Which you'll notice as you play more and more church music, a lot of it, they kind of keep the shapes and they walk the bass lines around. Anyway, when you get into the refrain, it's really straightforward. The only thing you have to pay attention to is your bass notes, okay? You can just play everything, and just play it standard, but those bass notes are helpful in this particular scenario. So once you kind of get that D over F sharp, you can play like this, but remember, when you're in the dadgad tuning, you can do this too. If you don't like to run over, I think you should learn to use your thumb if you currently aren't, especially for church music. The A over C sharp, this would be played the same way whether you are in standard or dadgad style tuning for this, or cut capo style tuning. It's just an A with a C sharp over it. Okay, you really should. That's an easy chord to know. It's an easy one to learn. It helps you do the walks. Okay, you need it for that. So there's that one. When it comes to the E minor, that is one that I think it's worth mentioning. If you play an E minor, it sounds really nice, but then it sounds a lot more like an E minor 7 or an E minor over a D, because it is with this. So you'll notice in the video, I tend to play it like this, because I'm trying to get that low E in there. Now, depending on who you're playing with, if you've got a keys and bass player, and you say you struggle doing this, if you're playing with a cut capo, you're like, I just want to do this, you can. I would say one of two things. One, don't play all 6 strings, just kind of stick up here. You know, you are the branches and fruit for all to see. I am the vine, remain in me. And you don't need to worry about hitting that low pitch. But if you know you're going to hit it, if your bass player is playing an E, or, you know, for them, for their pitch, it might be a G, G sharp, or an A. But if it's there, maybe you should play it with them. Or same thing if your pianist is doing it down there. It does not sound good to when you are down in the low end, you know, anything I would say below, you know, we're talking in like the C4 range. Anything down low, it does not sound, anything below C4, in my opinion, it just doesn't sound good to have these two, like a, you know, C for a good example. I'm not gonna worry about it. It doesn't sound good to have a whole step difference down low, especially when you're talking about which is the bass pitch, which one you want to be your root pitch. It is not the same thing, and I just discussed that with your worship team and how you guys are going to play that. Okay. Other than that, that really covers the refrain. It's not too hard. In the verses, it's the same thing. It's all really straightforward. The only chord that really needs to be mentioned is the E7 over G. When you're playing in the cut capo, you get a really sweet chord. You can play a standard E chord and it sounds like that. If you were playing in standard, it would sound like this. Right? It doesn't sound quite as awesome, but you get the benefits of the cut capo, give you this really nice sonority, and when you listen to the recording, you can tell he's using the cut capo. Okay, aside from that, you can play it as this. If you wanted to play it as an actual E7 chord, like it's written to be played, but you have a D here, so you're getting the same, you're getting it either way, and this one is going to take the dominance over this one. All right, and then you go back to that E minor 7. Again, you just need to discuss with your other musicians if they're going to play an E or a D. If it doesn't matter, if he's playing something different or she, it doesn't matter. Make sure you guys are on the same page, because you don't want to hear that whole step difference as a root versus bass pitch. It's not all that great. The E7 over G sharp, it's technically, if you're not familiar with an E7 over G sharp, it looks like that. Okay, some people play it like this. I'm not a big fan of that because it gets the 6th in there. I don't like having the 6th. Paul Balash will play it a lot like this. The reason I like doing this one, I'm going to face you here. The reason I like this one is because regardless, if you have this here, one, you're not getting that double here. Well, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to move on because that part shouldn't go for the standard tuning. So other than that, that takes care of this song. It's really straightforward. It's a strummer. This is not a finger style song. You could, if you were lowering it, for example, if you wanted to play something, you know, in the middle of the mass and you wanted to be quiet, like no branch can live without the tree, no grower serve apart from me. You could do that. That's the beauty of a lot of these church songs. They're very flexible for a lot of different ways to play it. We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about playing it in standard tuning for a moment. Okay, I'm going to keep it in F sharp. All right, this kind of goes to the thing is, now when you're looking at those pedal tones, these two low strings, they're off limits during the pedal tone. Don't touch them, okay? You're going to ruin your chord. This is not a D chord, right? That's a D chord. This A over, that's not an A over D. This is an A over D. You want that sound. Same thing with the G. Okay, the G over A works the same way we talked about earlier. Okay, it works really well. So just keep in mind to not use these two strings if you're playing it in standard. Okay, everything else works the same. The D over F sharp, you could play your D over F sharp like this, but oh, sorry. There. But again, I would work on using your thumb to rap over. If you're not used to using it, start using it. It's an extra finger that you can use to play, and it allows you to have your other fingers available for something more exciting on the guitar, and less movement. Remember, I'm a big advocate of less movement is good. I say that as I slide up and down the chords all the time. But what matters is if you have an opportunity to stay close and move as little as possible, it leads to less errors, okay? Everything else is the same. To play the D walking down, if you listen to, for example, at the end of You Are the Branches, you can play Food for All to See. That sounds choppy, doesn't it? If you follow more walking bass line, you can go Food for All to See. I am the vine, remain in me. But if you were playing it fast, right? Food for all to see. I am the vine, remain in me. That's really what you're looking for. You don't need to go food for all to see. It just sounds choppy. And as you get better and better at playing the guitar, I'm not saying I'm a great guitar player or anything like that, but as you get better, you learn that the walks let the guitar ring more openly. And when you try to play chords, the same thing on the piano, what I'm trying to say is when you try to pick up your hands and move the whole chord, you always play like the G is always in the bass on a G chord, or the A is always in the bass there, you end up getting this, it just sounds to see, versus getting some music to it. You get a lot more musicality to it. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, let's go look at that E7 over G sharp chord. This has probably the most importance here. You do need to play an E7. So if you go, this I have told you that you may see. It sounds really weird playing an E chord. But if you go, that you may, E7 chord, it sounds a lot better. You can go crazy and add an extra D in there. Again, if you wanted to play that E over G sharp, you can even go even crazier. That you may see, but you just don't really get. There you go. That you may see. And then the only reason I don't like playing the G sharp in general, as I said when I was with the cut capo, you get that seventh in the low end, so it's already present. But when you notice the way he plays the next chord is an E minor 7, it's not an E minor 7 over G. If he was here, that you may see, and if he went like this, my love in you, your joy complete, it would make more sense to me to play the G sharp. Now on the keyboard, it works really well on the keys. I will say that. But when you're playing the guitar chords, I think E7 works a little bit better over E7 rather than the inverted. Unless you want to add that E minor 7 over G, that's up to you. Okay, that covers everything. Remember, it's a strummer. We already talked about that. Vocally, this needs to be had a few things mentioned to it, mostly in the verses. Okay, it's all syncopated. No branch can live without the tree. It's written like that for the whole thing. One nor grow or serve apart from me. All right, but when you listen to the recording, he doesn't really sing it like that. The way he sings it, I sang it close to the way he sings it. If you notice, at the end of each 2-measure bit, the third measure is a whole note that's tied to the end of 4 of the previous measure. He tends to sing, there's 4 of them, he tends to sing the first 2 like they're written, and he tends to hold the last 2 after the beat, like, this I have told you that you may see, instead of that you may see, but you get the drift, okay? He tends to hold it over. I actually like to hold over almost all of them. I like doing the first one as written. So, no branch can live without the tree, nor grow or serve apart from me. That one sounds good. Nor grow or serve apart from me. There's hanging over. These next 2 he hangs over. This I have told you that you may You just need to make sure that your singers are all on the same page. Okay, I'm singing this by myself right now. I can sing it however I want. Some of the ones I did shorter because I was sitting here thinking to myself, oh, I should do that. Then the next time, feeling it feels better. I think it feels better to hold it till after. And this is just one of those things when you listen to a lot of these church recordings, especially a lot of the stuff with OCP. I don't know why, but the sheet music is kind of written to be, in my opinion, more stable, more steady, more predictable, where when you listen to the recording artists play it, they tend to have a little bit more freedom. They don't always sing it the way it's written. And I think a lot of times groups and volunteer groups, they tend to get caught up in oh no, it sounds choppy. And it does tend to sound choppy sometimes if you sing everything like this. When I work on my singers to sing with this, we go, no branch can live without the tree. And I make them do that the whole time. Nor grow a serve apart from me. And I won't let them sing full length notes until we have that rhythm down, because it gets real hard real fast. Or, you can see how really quickly when you sing syncopated rhythms, that happens a lot. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, and I can't remember what it was. I'll go with this, though. I like to add a tag to the song. So at the end it goes, I am the vine, remain in me. It's written to just sing a D right there. But if you go to the 6th chord, and you can repeat it. I am the vine, remain in me. So, I am the vine, remain in me. I am the vine, remain in me. I like doing that a lot. I think it kind of adds a finality to it, and it's really simple to do. You just need to make sure your band knows to play a 6th chord instead. I know what I meant to remember. I sang verse 4 on purpose. I wanted to just do the first 3 verses. I didn't do verse 5. I didn't want to worry about it. But in verse 4, the reason I wanted to share it with you is it's really easy to get wordy. As I died, so too shall you die. As I rose, so too shall you rise. Really easy to get wordy. We sang this past weekend, and at our first Mass, almost all of us got tongue-tied. As it's really easy to get tongue-tied, and they don't sing it the way the sheet music is written. I do not like the way that the sheet music has that first measure written. And so go over verse 4. I wanted to use verse 4 because it's part of those readings. And for both John 15 and 1 John 4, it is part of both of those readings. So you need to use this verse, especially if those are part of your readings. Don't leave that out. Work on those 2 lines. As I died, so too shall you die. As I rose, so too shall you rise. Work on that and make sure it is there. It's in the back of their head, because when you try to read it, it gets really wordy, and just the syllables in line with each other, it's really easy to make a mistake. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about with this song. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do for you with the song, but have a good day.